Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful evening. Hotter than blazes here in Wichita last night. Made it to 100 plus. 92 on the deck last night when I went out to walk the dog with humidity north of 70%. It was a miserable evening. But it is July, and we do have temperatures are supposed to break 100 in this part of the world a week or two every summer, so we're catching our 100-degree weather week. Rich Genders told me to tell you he will not be here tomorrow for his cruise through the software. He's traveling this week, so he said he'd pick it up again next week. We'll announce that again tomorrow. Okay, we're in an unusual situation. The inverse relationship between the note and the stock indexes has been tabled, at least for a while. No news really to drive the trading out overnight. Russia was let off the hook by our government. Said they had no direct involvement in the shoot down of the Malaysian aircraft. Again, going back to Occam's razor, that probably makes the most sense. Most logical. The Russian separatists are the ones that are being tagged for this. The Ukraine asked that the Russian separatists be tagged a terrorist organization for shooting down that aircraft. So they are classified as terrorists and get less sympathy and less help from around the world. Russia supplies the weaponry. Russia is still supplying the weaponry for these people. Probably a great deal of the personnel in the leadership positions come from Russia too. So Russia's signature and handprint is all over it. But if you get your surrogates to do your dirty work for you, like Iran, like Russia, like East Germany, and these people I've learned a long time ago, then you may get a little mud on your face, but you won't be taken down internationally. For what you have encouraged and backed and fomented. So Russia yesterday escaped sanctions from the EU. The United States said last week they would not be increasing sanctions against Russia. So back to business as usual. So what's driving or holding the financials this high? An announcement yesterday said that from Portugal said that the fallout from the Esposito Bank could impact other financial organizations in Portugal. That can spread, so part of the pigs. Sovereign debt problems accelerates. A Chinese province financed a construction company in China, so they would not default. That would be the second default, or would have been the second default for China. So state support for failing business enterprises continues in China. The taxpayers and state pick up a lot of mistakes done by businesses these days, and it's not just in the United States, it is around the globe. Deutsche Bank was cited for lousy record keeping and high risk transactions that jeopardized their bank and others too yesterday in the United States. So it really is pretty much business as usual. So what are we going to face today? Yesterday the E-mini made a new contract high, and we're headed for 2,000. I don't know. It probably takes another piece of bad news to get us there. Overnight an article was out where people were guessing that the United States and Britain would start raising their interest rates in the mid-2015. Supposition for sure, but they cite that inflation is getting bad enough that even the central banks have to pay attention to it. Remember, all central banks would like to see inflation in a 1.5% to 2% range. That means they pay back with currency worth 50% of what it was when the debt was incurred. Makes everybody happy. So what we have right now is that we've got volume is pretty well holding in this 25 8 to 12 area. This is where the volume is. We're definitely dealing with a P overnight. The market is trying to trade higher, so my guess is we're going to go a little higher, but we're probably not going to break out above 23. So the first little resistance band is 14.5 to 18.5, and that'll be our sell one target. I think we will get into that. I think we can be patient on the sell. And then our second sell band is going to be this 20 to 24 area. And I don't think the news or anything else can take us higher unless the E-mini really falls out of bed. We have really good support in this 4 to 8 area, so our first buy is 5 to 9. And then 29 to 01 for buy 2. So I see a sideways trading range market today with an upward bias off the opening, and the sell will probably set up today, but I don't think we have to be in a hurry to get it. I think on the buy side we got to be early buyers, and then the market's got to take out 14.5. 18 to stick with it. So it is a quiet day. It is in the summer. There's not much going on. The market is liable to take a while to set up, and trades should be slow to unfold. Okay, the knob spread is holding in at 138.6 plus or minus a half. And again, I put a lot of articles up late yesterday that showed bank failures, potential defaults around the globe. Argentina, I think, got the go-ahead yesterday to default on their debt that's coming up. And so, I mean, this repudiation of debt twice within a generation by Argentina is going to kill any incentives to invest in Argentina outside of the state. They are run by the latest version of the Perones right now, and any investment in Argentina will be done by those closely associated with the government or the government itself, which will kill what growth potential they do have. Okay, the volume you can see in the 30-year is moving higher faster than it is in the note, and that's the reflection of the knob spread. So the knob spread is north of 13 points right now. It's been a pretty lucrative investment. What we haven't seen post the 3, 10, and 30-year auction is contraction of the knob spread. It's holding its own. So the shoot down of the Malaysian aircraft, what's going on in the Gaza Strip, the default, the impending default in Argentina, the banking problems in Portugal, they all have kicked in to say that the flight to quality or the potential for treasuries is still pretty good. We are about to make new highs. Resistance is at 27, so we'll make 27 to 31, sell one. I don't think we have to be in a hurry to get short this morning. I think the started off wanting to buy 13s to 17s. We may have to kick that up, but we'll get started there. We'll see if 27 holds as resistance and make our adjustment from there. Then 5 to 9 would be our second buy. But I posted an article too about how fundamentals no longer apply, and normally what would drive markets doesn't anymore. Most people have said, well, no matter what happens, the Fed will back and cover us for bad news. Earnings per share usually about in 70% of the cases beat whatever the consensus estimate is, and the major corporations have a lot of different ways to get to an earning per share number, and they do. Makes everybody happy. Right now, Fed policy is for a higher stock market, so if you puff your earnings per share numbers or use unusual accounting methods to get to them, you're not going to get in trouble. So the irony is for us as traders is the worse the news, the more likely equities are to rally. And they are pointed higher. Okay, gold, we're still in our trading range. This 1300, 1305 area is our buy zone. I'm hoping to get closer to 1300. We've got a P on volume and we've got a B on TPOs. So we'll see what we get. The 10 to 12 is sell 1. That's pretty much where it was last night. And 15 to 17 will be sell 2. On the buy side, let's get started. 1300, 1302, we may have to raise that. 5 to 7 might be our buy zone, and then which would make 15 to 17 our sell. Play for a 10 handle range. No news to drive today's trading. Kind of a tough read. Don't think we have news that can break us out one way or the other. I don't think anybody has any doubts that Israel is going to do enough damage with Hamas to put them back in the that genie back in its bottle for at least a couple of years. And that's how it's done in the Middle East. We've seen it in Lebanon. Lebanon, it took about 20 years for them to kill enough people where they didn't have enough young men to go to war. So Lebanon is rebuilding its fighting population right now. And so in the Middle East, since recorded time, you have 25 years of war, 50 years of rebuilding, 25 years of war. It's the way that region runs. And the Israelis feel that land is theirs, either through conquest or through the Bible, when it was deeded to him, at least according to the Bible, to Abraham a long time ago. And of course the Arabs conquered, I think in the 750s AD, conquered Jerusalem and Israel, and because they conquered it a long time ago, they feel like the land is theirs. And the fighting never stops. Okay, we've got volume now building in the 70 area, and we've got volume up here in the 28 area. So just structurally, selling against 25 is a great trade in the euro. And right now, because volume is moving lower, we don't really know where it is. Buying the 50 to 75 area looks like a reasonable trade. So we've got 75. We are pointed higher this morning, so we'll give it a little room. Let's make 85 to 95 sell 1. And we had this, a lot of stuff comes together in the 135 area, and then we have the spill from 15, and so we'll make 10 to 20 sell 2. Going to give it a little room, so let's make 50 to 60 buy 1, and then buy 2 will make 20 to 30. And as you can see, we haven't been this low in 6 months, so we're doing a little guessing on where support might be. But the euro is clearly a sell. And again, they have high unemployment. They've got a lackluster economies. And they're not able to defend themselves. And they're dependent upon Russia for 30% of their natural gas needs. They've gotten rid of all of their militaries. They've lived off the United States' umbrella, and now we're withdrawing or pulling that umbrella back. So what are they going to do? Probably what any outside force tells them to do. Like in France, with all these riots and all the burning of churches and attacks on temples, the Jewish temples, the French solution is to tell the French Jews to leave the country. It's just mind-blowing. You let this very, very vocal Islamic group come into your country, and then you let them dictate the terms. And the local residents don't have any say in it. The government just folds. We do live in interesting times. Okay, crude oil, 102.50 to 75. That's where resistance is. I think we're pointed a little bit higher, so let's make it 102.75 to 103 for sell 1. And then 3 1/4, 350 sell 2. Again, quiet markets. They're looking for a draw in the EIA number of 2 million barrels. They had a draw in the APIs last night of 600,000 barrels. They're also looking for builds in product. If they get builds in product, that tells you that the economy is still soft. And on the buy side, we broke this baby out at 102, so we'll make 225, 102 even, pretty much where we were last night. Buy 1. And then 101.50, 101.75 for buy 2. Rich, if you're in a position to add to it, number 1 levels, we talk about this frequently, are if the trend is going to continue. And they're fairly aggressive, but they're based on support or resistance holding, that it'll stay contained. Number 2 levels are based on the fact that most markets are a little higher or a little lower, and they allow the exchange members to push it a little bit higher, get stops outside of near support and resistance, and pull it back into the range. So that's the read on them. And on the financials, because they're responsive markets, higher prices are sold, lower prices are bought. Getting your first positions on at level number 1, rounding them out at number 2 is a pretty viable strategy, and go with markets. I think you need to see rejection before you jump out and put those on. Okay, the E-mini made new contract highs yesterday. Apple's earnings beat everybody's estimates. Their iPhone sales were higher than anybody thought they would be. That was countered by an article that iPhones move into a larger handset was fraught with risk. And I don't see how it's fraught with risk. You know, there's a lot of people out there that have like these Galaxy Notes and the very, very smallest tablets that really like them. And they like them because you can really work the web, and it's easier to type, etc. on them. So it's not a tablet, it's not a notebook, but you can communicate pretty well with the larger versions of smartphones. So I don't see it as a problem. I see it responding to LG and Samsung's products, and actually even Amazon's. Amazon is coming out. Has come out with a phone. So here we are, 1980 is resistance. That's going to be selling failure to take out 1980 is our sell 1 area, then 84, 86 will be sell 2. Don't have any kind of news to really take us higher today, but I'm not in too big a hurry to get short, because we have made new highs. I do think the E-mini is going to 2,000, and don't know how long it's going to take to get there, but we're poised to move there by the end of the week. And on the buy side, the 75 area will be buy 1. and in the 70-72 area would be buy 2. I think if we're going to make new highs and keep trading up, that the 75 area is going to hold on the E-mini. There is no news to drive the trading. The biggest news out of Chinese was the state not allowing that company to fail. I think it was some company called Bridge and Steel. The biggest news out of Europe was that Mercedes beat their earning per share, and then out of the United States last night, Apple did it. So, business as usual in the stock market. Buy weakness. That's all I have right now. It'll take at least 15 minutes to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that right now.